Hey guys, this is Julie, Toyota Trading Strategies. I had a customer ask me how to use the PT indicators in Blackbird to get profit targets and stop losses. So basically, the first thing you have to realize is to get the daily profit targets, one, two, three, if you're going to take a profit target at the upper daily ones, versus the lower daily ones, we need to give it a trend filter. So you have to give it like a path to get there. So you're going to need either a 200 EMA or a VWAP or current day open, at the Globex 1700, something like that. So I'm using the current day open in this example. If you would like to change this to, a 200-day moving average or a VWAP or something like that, like if you're above the VWAP, go to the target. You can flip that out. This is just an example. I'm using the current day open. So if I'm above or below the current day open, I'm going to hit my 1, 2, 3 dailies. So if I'm here, this one is for set up for the daily 1B. So if I was below the current day open, I'd get a signal here at the daily 1B to take a profit. Now, as you can see here, we were going back to it, and we're still below it. So again, that took a profit. So you may want to put other logic in there to say that the you would have to be um, if you're below the current 1B, uh, you could not use that as a profit target. Um, if you understand what I'm saying, you would not want to take it as a profit target going up into it, tailwind. But this and that could also be taken care of with your other logic. Usually, you would put something else in your logic, like you know, a short-term moving average or something like that, to be on the right side of the trade. But I just wanted to point that out to you. This is not like meant to be a trading template for an algo. This is just an example to help you get started building your own logic board. So to get the logic to give you a signal, again, you need your filter. So in this, trend filter, in this situation, I'm using the current day open. And so there's nothing magical about that. You just use the close and a comparison solver in the A, and in the B, you would put the current day open. And that's a standard NinjaTrader indicator. And then you build out your comparison solvers. The close in A and B would be the PT3. The trick is to make A equal to B. So when the close is equal to the line that you select, you'll get a signal, and I'm giving it a 1 point offset. So when I'm within 1 point, if you want to move that down to 2 ticks, you can come in here and adjust that. Just change point to ticks, or if you want to use ATRs or something like that. But right now I'm using a 1 point offset. So if it's a point in front of it, you'll get a signal. So on the stop loss, he's using a 5-minute PT3. And let me right click and refresh to make sure that these are all lined up. Give this 1 second to populate. And there you go. So if it hits the lower PT3, you'll get an exit signal because you would be um, trying to go long, and you can see that it went short. It would stop you out if you were trying to go short. and it came long, it would stop you out. And again, I've got that logic um, separated so that it is got the long short modifier flipped on that, the swap node. And again, it's the same thing. You just change the logic instead of a daily. You can come over here and change that to a 5 minute. One thing I mentioned to my customer, and I'll mention to you, is the way that I have the range set up is to measure 1/2 of the 3 to 3. Right, 1/2 of the 3 to 3. Um, get the ruler out. So if we go from the mean to the 3 and extend that beyond the PT3, you'll see that that is 1 time the range outside the 3, but instead of it being a 1, it's actually a 0.5 because it's half the distribution. The distribution goes from a 3 to the 3, and now if you go outside the 3, you can see here's your 1 time the range up there, right there. So this is all very algorithmic. And in the indicator itself, if you want to use tails, you can use 0.5 to get half from mean to 3 and 1 to get 3 to 3. You can split the 0.5 into 2, and that would be 0.25. So half of the half makes a pretty good stop location for scalping. Because like I said, the algos will hit that 3 all the time and then turn around. So if you're trying to do a stop out, you may want to give yourself a little bit more room to give it time to turn around so that you stay in the trade. But you are, taking a few more points heat. Be aware of that. So however you want to do it, do you want to do it close in or do you want to take a tail? And again, I need to right click and refresh. Since these are, you're asking it to go right on the line, you need to refresh it each time to see it. And there's your signal. And otherwise, you would have stayed in the trade. See, it's a lot less signals, but it just depends on how much risk tolerance you have and what you're trying to achieve. So I'll get you this template. It's set up for the daily 1, 2, 3s going out, daily 1, 2, 3 from the current day open or, from the open and close. And again, for those of you not aware of what this open and close business is, I can generate my signals using the session open. When the day opens, that's a lot different than when the day closes, right? Same thing with your weekly and your monthly. So these are different levels, and the algos will trade to both of them a lot of the time. So no one else gives you session open and close, that, to my knowledge, for your indicators except for Jats. So I do this for us. So we have a huge edge in the market. So what this looks like in Blackbird, I've got a Blackbird template set up for you. It will, you will need to use your logic, whatever Bloodhound logic you want to put in here. Or if you just want to sit there and hit the go long button and use the logic set up, it will hit the closest to price. So if it's closest to PT1A or 2A or 3A or 1B or 2B or 3B, it's going to take the profit target. whatever's closest. And I've set this up to begin with like an ATR using a very wide 60-minute PT3, something that won't get hit for a profit target initially, unless like it's spiked up 60-minute worth of PT3, right, which will never happen in the ES unless, something, extraordinary happens. But it immediately switches to the trailing action. So your order opens and then it flips over to the trailing action because it's whatever's closest to price will control it. And so I've got the logics set up in here for you to trigger when it hits the daily 2A to move your order to the last, and that'll flatten it out. So you can either move the order to the last from wherever your order triggered on your entry, and you're happily going along. When it hits that line, the 2A or the 1A or the whatever it is, 1B, 1A close, 1A open, something like that, whatever's closest to it, it will move that entry signal to last, meaning one more tick and it's going to get hit and it will close the order. Or, you can change this if you don't like to move it to last. Maybe it didn't, take that one tick and it just kept going. That's very rare also. But you could change move to last, sorry, here, to flatten position. So instead of just move order to last, you could change the move order here to just flatten position. I don't like using the flatten position because of all of these are strung on that. I prefer just keeping it with last because you may have that PTA and B open and close situation, um, like I was showing you. And so say, you wanted to take a profit target here, and you moved the order to last, but it never gave you that one down tick to fill it. It just kept going. It would go to your next level. So however you want to do this, I think move to last is pretty good, but I do it this way to control it with logic. This is how I would recommend it, and this is how I'm giving you the template. The reason I don't set it up with the indicator is Bloodhound or Black Shark Indicators does not do a good job with indicators, using indicators to control the logic. They are more use Bloodhound to control the logic instead of an indicator. And so that's that. And then the other way that I can do this, and I'll show you real quick, is if you want to set a profit target or a stop loss, you can set it up as an ATR and then change your ATR to the Jats PT2, not the PT3. So the PT2, and I just leave it on the PT3, but I will change my time range to whatever time range I want, right? And if you wanted to do a 5 minute, you could put it on minute 5, right? And then you can control how far it goes. So if you wanted to do 0.5 or 1.1 or 1.25, say you just wanted to do half the PT3, right? You can come in here and do 0.5 for the profit target or the stop loss. The stop loss would be minus zero point 0.5. And that takes the distance. It's the same distance as the indicator, but putting it from the open of where your order executed. Okay. And it would be giving you that distance, the algorithmic distance for that range from the open. So from the entry price, the open entry price, to the indicator running that logic, you can control 0.33, so you can hide your order. So say everybody gets this indicator, right? And you say, well, that's going to like kill the signal. Everybody will be using the same signals. Well, no, you can move this and tuck your order wherever you want it this way. So this is why I've been using it myself, not using the indicator level per se, that maybe, the market makers will get this indicator and say, well, we'll just go, attack their orders like, they do the MACD or something else. You can control your logic by changing the offset, customize it. You can hide it better from them. It wouldn't be the same as everybody else. You can do 0.28. You can do 1.28. You can do anything you want. So once you get used to these concepts, you'll see that, maybe you would prefer using the PT2 and just measuring your range this way versus setting it to control the logic the other way. So split the difference, try it both ways. But I'll give you this template. I'll put it in the training room, and you can test this out and use it with your logic. And again, you'll probably do like I'm doing and develop your own logic, trading to these levels, and come up with some, tests, stuff like that. Um, Opening range breakouts, something like that. Wait for that opening range to break out before you take a signal. Maybe you want to wait for the PT1 to break. That's real easy to set up. Let's go back to my other template real quick. Oops, wrong one. Here it is. Well, I have a couple of templates open. Here we go. So say you want to wait for an opening range breakout, you can just put a comparison solver on here. Put price and A. Put your Bloodhound PT indicator rather on the Bloodhound B. PT3, and then change this to use time range. And then 8:30 to 9:30, if you want to wait for the 1 hour IB on the open. And then here's your PT1, and here's your PT1 there. And let's call this IB. And this could also be a trend filter for you. And then we will refresh the screen. and put the indicator on the chart would help so that you can see it. Okay, so you can see here there's no signal because you're inside the middle of the initial balance. But now once you get outside of it, you're getting those short permissives. And this may be where you would want to trade it down to the PT1. So this could be, a template to try to help you get down to the PT1s as a profit target. So you would take your breakout in the Bloodhound logic and then use the PT1 B close or the PT1 B open, whatever's closest, as the profit target. Again, refresh the chart. And another thing to keep in mind when you're using something like this, you probably want to set the Blackbird to calculate on uh, price change or each tick and not bar close because you want it to execute at the level. So set your Blackbird up to do bar close or price change. So I'll give you this template to use as a guideline, and this is how you would set it up. So you would need a condition to go long or short, and then you can go to your daily profit targets and take them when they get there. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next week.